Chapter number 12, page number 221. Mahatma Gandhi assumes leadership. The Rowlatt Act came like a sudden blow. To the people of India, promised extension of democracy during the war, the government step appeared to be a cruel joke. It was like a hungry man expecting bread being offered stones. Instead of democratic process had come further restriction of civil liberties. Unrest spread in country and a powerful agitation against the act arose. During this agitation, a new leader, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, took command of the nationalist movement. The new leader made good one of the basic weaknesses of the previous leadership. He had evolved in his struggle against racialism in South Africa, a new form of struggle, cooperation, and a new technology struggle, satyagraha, which could be put into practice against the British in India. He had, moreover, a basic sympathy for the understanding of the problems and the psychology of Indian peasantry. He was therefore able to appeal to it and bring it into mainstream the national movement. He was thus able to arouse and unite all sections of the Indian people in a militant mass national movement. Gandhiji and his ideas. M.K. Gandhi was born on 2nd October 1869 in Porbandar in Gujarat after getting his legal education in Britain. He went to South Africa to practice law. Imbued with a high sense of justice, he was revolted by the racial injustice, discrimination, and degradation to which the Indians had to submit in South African colonies. Indian laborers who had gone to South Africa and the merchants who followed were denied right to vote. They had to register and pay a poll tax. They could not reside except in prescribed locations which were insanitary and congested. It came in some of South African colonies. The Asians, also the Africans, could not stay outdoors after 9 pm. Nor could they use public footpaths. Gandhi soon became the leader of the struggle against these conditions and during 1893 to 1914 was engaged in a heroic though unequal struggle against racist authorities of South Africa. It was during this long struggle lasting nearly 2 decades that he evolved the technique of satyagraha based on truth and non-violence. The ideal Satyagrahi was to be truthful and perfectly peaceful, but at the same time, he would refuse to submit to what he considered wrong. He would accept suffering willingly in the course of struggle against the wrongdoer. This struggle was to be a part of his love of truth. But even while resisting evil, he would love the evildoer. Hatred would be an alien to the nature of a true satyagrahi. He would moreover be utterly fearless. He would never bow down before evil, whatever the consequences. In Gandhi's eyes, non-violence was not a weapon of the weak and the cowardly. Only the strong and the brave could practice it. Even violence was preferable to cowardice. In a famous article in his weekly journal Young India, he wrote in 1920 that non-violence is the law of our species as violence is the law of the brute. But that where there is only a choice between cowardice and violence, I would advise violence. I would rather have India resort to arms in order to defend her honor than that she should, in a cowardly manner, become or remain a helpless witness to her own dishonor. He once summed up his entire philosophy of life as follows: the only virtue I went to claim is truth and non-violence. I lay no claim to superhuman power. I want none. Another important aspect of Gandhi's outlook was that he would not separate thought and practice, belief and action. His truth and non-violence were meant for daily living and not merely for high sounding speeches and writings. Gandhiji, moreover, had immense faith in capacity of the common people to fight. For example, in 1915, referring to the common people who fought along with him in South Africa, in the course of his reply to an address of welcome at Madras, he said, "You have said that I inspired these great men and women, but I cannot accept that proposition. It was they, the simple minded folk, who worked away in faith, never expecting the slightest reward, who inspired me, who kept me to the proper level, and who compelled me by their sacrifice, by their great faith, by their great trust in the great God to the work that I was able to do." Similarly, in 1942, when he asked how he expected to resist the might of the empire, he replied, "With the might of the dumb millions." Gandhiji returned to India in 1915 at the age of 46. He spent an entire year in traveling all over India, understanding Indian conditions and the Indian people, and then in 1916 founded the Sabarmati Ashram at Ahmedabad, where his friends and followers were to learn and practice the ideas of truth and nonviolence. He also set out to experiment with his new method of struggle. Thank you, Rivin, for joining us today, and all the best for your exams. We will cover Champaran Satyagraha in the next video. Thank you for tuning in, and all the best for your exams. Do share and subscribe the channel as well. Thank you.